Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is Hale Dwoskin, New York Times bestselling author of The Sedona Method, and is featured in the movie Letting Go. He is the founder of the Sedona Training Associates, an organization that teaches courses based on the emotional releasing techniques inspired by the mentor of his, which is Lester Levinson. Hale is internationally known as a speaker and featured faculty member of Bestselling and the Omega Institute. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Hale. Welcome to the show, Hale.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
You know, I've followed you for many years, and it's so great that you reached out to me, your team. I heard about you many years ago through Debbie Ford.
Oh, yes, Debbie's a friend.
She was a good friend of mine, and she always talked so highly of the Sedona Method and you and what you do. So I'm so happy to have you here, and Debbie's with us in spirit.
Yes, definitely.
I know the Sedona Method is known in many areas of teaching and internationally. What is it that inspired you to get involved in this work?
Well, I met Lester Levinson, the man who's the inspiration behind the Sedona Method, in 1976 at a seminar that I helped organize for a man named Leonard Orr. And when I met Lester, it was going out to lunch after the seminar, and I was deeply struck by how peaceful and loving, and it's hard to describe. It really made an impression on me. And so I took the course, and before the course was even over, I had this profound sense that this is what I was going to dedicate my life to. And that was 1976. And still going strong. So that's how I got involved in it.
You know, I know many individuals are always looking for change in their lives or betterment in their lives. How can we discover and really have true happiness and peace of mind?
Well, true happiness and peace of mind is actually natural. Most of us believe that we have to work really hard for it. Life has to be a particular way. Our relationships have to be just so. Our health has to be just so. We have to have the right amount of money in the bank. And all that is great. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, letting go or releasing, which what we teach, helps make that easier. But as you let go, you can also discover that already there is this love and this peace and this beauty and this boundlessness that is the heart of everything, and that's being experienced. Everything that's you hear, taste, touch, smell, feel, see, at its heart or at its core is this unshakable beauty or peace or happiness. And that's what's natural. So what can happen as you let go is this can become your living experience. You can discover that there are no limits to happiness. There are no limits to peace. And at the same time, as you discover this, you can feel and know that there is a way out from whatever imaginary problem you're struggling with. I say imaginary just because our problems are often just a story about what was, and they have nothing to do with what actually is. Now, that's kind of a radical thing to say, but it's been my experience over the past over 4 decades of doing this work that when you challenge your assumptions, when you challenge your beliefs, when you recognize that which already is, then even long-standing beliefs that have been holding you back, even long-standing issues or problems, tend to drop away by themselves.
And I know you said letting go, because a lot of people will misread that as control. I have to give up control.
Right.
And that seems to be one of the main problems in society today is people want to control everything because they think they have it together. When you say letting go, is that really releasing to trust or really letting things fall into divine order? How is that in the Sedona
Here's
method?
how I would describe it. I like what you said, but I just add to it. And that is, when you let go, you're just letting go of your fear, your frustration, your uncertainty, your angst, your anger, and all your self-doubt, and maybe even depression. Whatever feeling or emotion you're holding on to, that's preventing you from living life wide open and at ease. And as you let that go, it can be discovered that it isn't who you are. Feelings are just feelings. They're not facts, and they're not you, and you can let them go. And as you let go, you actually feel more in control, not less. It's counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what we expect. We think if I don't hold on and keep it all together every second, life is going to run away from me. Well, what if life is already living through you and all you're trying to do something with or about it is actually making it more difficult, making you feel even more out of control? So as you let go of wanting to be in control, you actually feel more in control. And again, that's counterintuitive.
What does love mean to you?
Well, love is just the basic nature of all that is. This is love. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever is being seen, felt, tasted, touched, seen, I said that already, all of that is already love. Love could also be described as unconditional acceptance, unconditional aliveness. It can be also described as boundlessness. And love is already. We get confused because we think love has to come from outside of ourselves, from someone or something else. But the love that is already the heart of what's being experienced. And that can become more obvious as you let go. Love is natural. You don't need to go looking for it.
How can one truly learn to love themselves?
Well, you can learn to love yourself by starting with recognizing that this love that we're looking for outside of ourselves is our basic nature. And then the other thing is, we tend to judge ourselves, to reject ourselves, to think that we're not enough as we are. And those are just feelings or beliefs that you can let go of. And as you let go of all the feelings you have about yourself that are less than optimal, what's left over is a sense of acceptance, a sense of ease, a sense of lightness. And so you don't have to force yourself to love yourself. Loving yourself is what's natural, as there's a letting go of all the beliefs to the contrary.
What do we say to someone when they say, I'd like to come to learn how to shed my limitations that are holding me back from manifestation of being authentic, of really doing the job or the purpose in my life that I need to do? What would you say, or what are some tips that you could shed for us?
Well, there's several things. First off, it is better, of course, to have a positive attitude or think positively. Yet, if you've ever tried to do that without letting go of the undertow from the past, the negative pull of our past failures, our past disappointments, and all the conclusions we've made about that. When you start letting go of the past, then right here, right now, there is already abundance. And you can discover it and live it. And so it's not so much trying to manifest abundance, it's uncovering it and recognizing it and living it. And that's actually a lot easier. When you're trying to manipulate your thoughts and feelings, you're trying to maintain a positive attitude, then you judge yourself whenever you're not succeeding, and you're fighting with whatever you're experiencing. But whatever is being experienced is just what's apparently happening. It's not the truth. It's just the feeling or thought or belief of the moment. It doesn't even really belong to you.
And I also
it's just
think
what's apparently happening.
I also think that, through our history of growing up, experience as a child, or what we know to be true for us by our parents, what we saw, that brings us into regurgitating that in our lives as adults, unless we change the narrative within ourselves first. Otherwise, we will continue to replicate those actors in life that give us the same results. What would you say to that when someone is trying to step out of their past and really move into their destiny? What would be the key thing to say to them?
Well, several things. First off, I might sound like a broken record again, because what I teach is letting go.
Right.
And it is kind of the universal essence of transformation. But there's other things too. In addition to just letting go of the past, you can recognize that the past right now is just a memory. It isn't happening now. It just appears to be because we're still thinking about it, still acting from it. We're still caught in the patterns from the past because we haven't let it go. We're still thinking about it, feeling about it. And all that can be interrupted as you let go. But the other thing you can do is, as you open to what is in this moment, there is a beauty and a power that supports, I wouldn't call it manifestation, but actually the active uncovering of the infinite potential or boundlessness that already is right now. And as you uncover that, you find that you naturally live it, and you naturally start breaking the old patterns that you've been living from as though there's no other choice. You can ask yourself a question. Would I rather continue to struggle with all these beliefs from the past? Or would I rather be free and have my goals? And if you'd rather be free, you'll find that you naturally let go of believing the lies that your mind has been telling you. The mind tells you that because there was a problem in the past, or because society has had this problem before, or my parents did, or my friends did, or my husband or my wife did, that I need to have it too. Or we're saying to ourselves, I don't want that same thing to happen to me. We're resisting it or rejecting it. Both of those produce the same result. It produces our constantly repeating the same pattern, because we're living in what we know about the past, as opposed to recognizing that there is just life happening now, and it's not subject to what happened in the past.
So what if someone
feels that way or appears that way?
What if someone is experiencing a crisis currently, and they just can't seem, how can they say to you, how can I let go when they are in a panic, anxiety, or having a stressful moment or year in their business? What do you do to someone that says, I can't just let go? What will happen? What do you say to those people?
Well, you already, the first thing I would say, if you look at your life right now, you see what happens from not letting go. If you're feeling out of control, you're not letting go. If you're feeling really stressed out, you're not letting go. When you let go, the stress, the anxiety, the tension, and all the story you have about why you feel the way you do just gets reinforced. We live in what we know about our struggles. But when you let go of what you think you know, you discover what actually is. And letting go is actually simple. What's hard is holding on. What's hard is living in the same loop over and over again. Everything, you constantly are expecting the next catastrophe, the next awful thing to happen. And that becomes your life, because that's how all you're seeing. You're seeing this repeating loop. But as that dissolves, as it's seen through, as you let it go, or as it just dissolves by itself, which will happen, as you start letting go, you'll discover that a lot of it falls away by itself. But it's, again, counterintuitive. The mind says that if you let go, you'll be out of control. And it's because feelings only lie. They tell us we're going to get from letting go of them what we already have from holding on to them. So our feelings tell us that if we let go, we'll be more out of control. But usually when we're saying that, we already are feeling out of control. And our life is reflecting that. But what you'll find when you let go, there's an immediate sense of openness and calm and ease and presence and possibility. And so you'll find that that makes everything easier. And it helps you get aligned with what's actually natural for this environment. When we're in our old patterns about the way it used to be, then we're responding to what was instead of what is, and then we wonder why it's not working. We're responding to what we know about the past as opposed to what is now. And when you let go, you can respond to what is now. In fact, it just happens naturally. It becomes less you responding and just life unfolding.
Does pain serve a purpose?
Well, biologically, sure. If it hurts when you put your hand in the fire, you know to take your hand out of the fire. So from that perspective, yes. But emotional pain is a reaction to the emotion. You can be really angry at someone, or really sad, or really fearful without suffering from it, because you're not. What we usually do is we're reacting to our reactions. In fact, what we usually do is we react to our reaction, then we judge ourselves for reacting to our reaction, and then we're reacting to that, and it just becomes a loop. We're saying I shouldn't feel what I do. I shouldn't be the way I am. And when we do that, that's very painful. But if you stub your toe, you know not to. There's a momentary pain, as long as you didn't damage something permanently. Then obviously there's something to fix. But what happens is we stub our toe, and then we make up a whole story about how stupid I am for stubbing my toe. If I was only paying more attention, I wouldn't do that. I knew that was there, and I've stubbed my toe there before. And then we start beating ourselves up. And that magnifies what happens. It makes it feel more unpleasant. Yet life is just naturally unfolding as it is. It has ups and downs in it. It has physical pain from time to time. But the less there's a reaction to the physical pain, the more it just arises and disappears without leaving a residue and without us forcing ourselves to re-experience it over and over again.
What has been the greatest challenge that you have overcome?
Well, the thing that comes, it's hard to say because it's been decades since I've really felt super challenged in any way. But years ago, I just finished leading a seminar that went really well. And then I had a mild earache, and I went to a local doctor, and he gave me eardrops. And then 24 hours later, I collapsed in my bedroom and was sent to the emergency room and ended up being in the hospital with severe meningitis and encephalitis. And it was also very painful. And what happened was there was just this letting go that a lot of it was effortless. And even though the doctors weren't sure I'd live, and even though there was pain, there was also peace. And instead of it being a traumatic experience, it was a transformative one, because I recognize that even when there's tremendous turmoil and trouble and actually threat of death, there still could be this peace and this happiness that was unaffected by what was happening to the body. And that really transformed my relationship to the body. I still take care of it. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I work out. I do yoga every day. I eat a vegan diet. Yet I know that whatever happens to the body is not happening to this, that I truly am. And that is liberating. And that is also very transformative.
If you were granted one wish for humanity, for our planet, what would it be?
Oh, I would just wish that everyone recognized their true nature of boundless love and joy and peace and happiness, and that we all lived from that, which means that there would be loving kindness, there would be harmony, or at least more than there is now. And so if I could wish that for everyone, I would wish that they wake up from this dream of separation and limitation, and there be a discovery of what truly is.
What was it like when you did The Secret, the first movie that was very iconic in changing people's perspective? Was it instant?
It was fun, actually.
Yeah.
Rhonda came to an organization that I'm one of the founding members of, and she just interviewed us. And there was no form to it. She didn't really know what the movie was going to look like. The movie ended up just being an edited version of all these conversations. But when Rhonda interviewed me, she was much more interested in the Sedona method and letting go, because she had known about it for years. So we spoke about that for most of the interview. And then at the very end, she said, we need to talk about something having to do with the law of attraction. And could you say something about that so I can make sure it includes you in the movie I'm doing? So I said, be for what you want as opposed to against what you don't want. And that ended up being a whole segment of the movie about how to deal with the world. But at the time, I really wasn't emphasizing the law of attraction, because I noticed that when people let go, they didn't have to effort at attracting. Goodness just simply happened.
Yes. And the movie Letting Go, you're featured in that. What was that about?
Oh, that was really it was an hour-long movie about the power of letting go, and how it was actually showing people how to let go in the movie itself. And it was really fun to do.
Excellent. What makes you laugh?
Often nothing. Because of this lack of constriction, because of this recognition that this sense of me is an illusion, I laugh so easily and often unexpectedly. And also, I laugh a lot as I help other people let go. Instead of crying and moaning and screaming, when people come to our seminars, there's almost none of that. There's definitely no screaming, but there's not even much crying, because when there's a letting go, it often is accompanied by laughter. And so whenever I'm leading seminars, we spend a lot of time laughing together as a group.
Yes, I think that's great. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. People can find out more about you at the Sedona Method Official on Instagram, or they can read the book, The Sedona Method, on Amazon or any bookstore. And I wish you great success, and I hope to see you in the near future. And thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. I'm Gary Quinn. Join me for another episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time, be well.